Okay, we're going to throw all these system of equations together. We're going to use some word problems to try to write our own systems of linear equations and then go solve them. So I know word problems sort of scare us, so I'm giving you one of my best jokes today. I had to redo the last video like 3 or 4 times, so I don't think the one that I actually took actually got the joke in it, so I'm hoping I'm not repeating myself. But all right, why do teenagers travel in groups of 3? Because they can't even. Ha ha. Yeah, that's one of my best ones. I know you're wondering why I'm not a comedian instead of a math teacher, but I love math too much to change careers at this point. Okay, so we're going to do systems of linear equations. We're actually going to have to write them ourselves. So remember, we're going to take one sentence at a time. We're going to use our variables to represent our 2 quantities. If you want to, on the side, write what the 2 variables actually mean, or use variables that are very representative of the 2 things that you're solving for, that's fine. But remember that you're writing 2 equations, so that sometimes helps to just do that, and we're going to take one sentence at a time and try to write them. Okay, so here we go. The sum of 2 numbers is 5. Okay, well, we don't know anything about those 2 numbers, so we're going to have to use variables. So we can just say x is one number and y is going to be the other number, okay? So sum, that means to add. So our first one is just going to be the sum of 2 numbers. So x plus y has to equal 5, okay? Now let's go look at the second sentence. If one of the numbers, well, it doesn't matter which one, let's just say x, is subtracted from the other, so subtraction, that means minus, the other number is y, but this one is x is subtracted from y, so that really means y minus x, right? The difference is 13. Okay, so we have now written our system of equations, and now we're going to go figure out how to solve for them. Okay, well, first step, remember, it has to be in ax plus by is equal to c format. So the first one already is for us. Let me go see, x plus y is equal to 5. Well, the second one is in y minus x is equal to 13. Well, all we need to do there is just change that order. So that's negative x, positive y is equal to 13, okay? So all I did was take this term and put it first instead of the y term being first, okay? Well, look, we already have our x, one positive x, one negative x, so we don't need to do anything to manipulate these 2 equations. We're ready to go ahead and start adding. Well, we have x plus a negative x gives us 0. And we have y plus y gives us 2y. And that's equal to 5 plus 13 is 18. Divide both sides by 2, so y is 9. Okay, remember then we can take either one of those equations, so x plus y is equal to 5. Now we go stick in the 9 for the y value and solve for x. So x is negative 4. So the ordered pair that satisfies this system of equations is negative 4, 9. Okay, well, in this case, I use the addition method. But when we're doing these word problems, you can use whichever method you want to. So if I would have chosen to come in here and say, well, I've got some single friends in here, right? So I could use the substitution method. So if I wanted to come over here and say, well, x plus y is equal to 5, because when we do our substitution, we do our t-chart, remember. So all I'm doing over here is just I'm going to solve it a totally different way, just in case substitution's your favorite. Well, remember, we solved one of these equations for one of the variables. So all I'm going to do here is take that x and move it over to both sides. So y is equal to x plus 13. And remember, now we take this and we go stick it in for y in the other equation. Let me do that in a different color. So x plus y, which we now know is x plus 13, is equal to 5. Well, we're going to combine like terms, so that gives us 2x plus 13 is equal to 5. Let's subtract our 13 from both sides. So 2x is equal to negative 8. Divide by 2, x is negative 4. And once we know what x is, then we come back to the other side and we solve for the y. So y is negative 4 plus 13. So y is 9. So again, see that I get the same answer whichever method I choose to use. So here, all we're going to say is we did substitution method on this side. And on this one, we did the addition method. You do not have to work it both ways. You work it whichever way you want to, whichever way looks easiest for you to do. So whichever way you like, you get to choose. I do not care, okay, on those word problems, which one you do. All right, so now we're going to try to write another system of linear equations based off this one. We have got 2 Quarter Pounders and 3 Whoppers with cheese provide 2,607 calories. Combining one of each of these provides 9 calories in excess of a $1,000 calorie a day diet. Find the calorie count of each. Okay, so remember, what we do first is we always just take one sentence at a time. Okay, well, we've got 2 Quarter Pounders. Well, 2 Quarter Pounders. And we have 3 Whoppers with cheese. They provide 2,607 calories. Okay, there's my first sentence. We've got our first system of linear equation. Now, combining one of each, so we've just got 1 Quarter Pounder and 1 Whopper, is 9 calories in excess of a 1,000 calorie a day diet. Well, that means the 9 in excess of is 9 plus 1,000, so 1,009 calories. Okay, so hopefully you see how we've got both of those equations. And now, which method would we like to work? Well, if you want to work substitution, go work substitution. If you'd like to do elimination, go do, or addition, go do the addition method. I am going to use the substitution method on this because I do not want to deal with those really big numbers if I multiply something by one of those. So I'm just going to do the substitution method on this one. So remember, we write both of our equations in a T-chart. All right, well, let's just subtract that W from both sides here. So Q is 1,009 minus W. All right, so now all we're going to do is take what we know Q is equal to and go substitute it into the Q for the other equation. So in this equation, we've got 2 times Q, so 2 times Q, which is 1,009 minus W, plus the 3W is equal to 2,607. All right, get your calculator out. So 2 times 1,009 is 2,018 minus 2 times the W. Remember, if it's in those parentheses, you've got to distribute it to both terms. Plus the 3W is equal to 2,607. Well, let's combine our like terms. So 2018, that gives us just 1W is equal to 2,607. So here, all we have to do is subtract our 2018 from both sides. And that gives us W is equal to 589. So one Whopper has 589 calories. All right, well now we're ready to go see how much a Quarter Pounder has. So the Quarter Pounder now is 1,009 minus W, which we now know is 589 because we just substitute that in on that side. So 1,009 minus 589, a Quarter Pounder has 420 calories. Okay, so if you use like X and Y for every single one of yours, you need to like let me know, especially if you're on the test, which one is which. So like I use variables that are pretty obvious, so if you do the same thing, that's fine. But if you needed to come over here and write your answers, then a Quarter Pounder has 420 calories and a Whopper with cheese has 589 calories, which I'm sure in my math lab it gives you. Just make sure you know which one is which so that you don't get those answers mixed up in my math lab, and then that would just tell you that the problem's wrong when you really know that you did it right. Okay, so here we go again. A restaurant purchased 8 tablecloths, so let's say 8 tablecloths, and 5 napkins for $106. A week later, a tablecloth, so that's just one, and 6 napkins cost $24. Okay, well there's our system of equations. Hopefully you can read those over and over again and make sure that you know how to create those equations from the words. And now all we're going to do is go solve. All right, you can choose again. You want to do substitution, you want to do addition. I'll just, even though probably substitution would be the easiest, let me do addition on this one. So I probably would take this equation and just multiply it by a -8. So let's rewrite this one. So 8t plus 5n is equal to 106. And then if I multiply the second equation by a -8, that's giving me -8t minus 48n, 6 times -8, and that's equal to 24 times -8 is -192. All right, so now we're ready to go add these two. We've eliminated our t variable for tablecloths, so 8t plus a -8t, that gives me my 0. So we've got 5t plus 48, that gives me 53 n's. Sorry, I think I said t. 106. Oh, no, hold on. I miscalculated. That's a negative. So 5 plus a -48 is -43. How about that? Is equal to 106 minus, or plus a -192 is -86. Now divide by 43. In each napkin cost $2. Okay, so we're talking money here, right? So each napkin was $2. So let's go see how much each tablecloth is now. So let's take the easy equation. So tablecloths plus 6n is equal to 24. So t plus 6 times n, which is 2, is equal to 24. So t plus 12 is equal to 24. Subtract 12 from both sides, so t is 12. Okay, so there's your two answers. A tablecloth is $12, a napkin is $2. Hopefully the actual solving part's going to be pretty easy for you since you've done the homework on the knowing how to do each of these methods. It's going to be actually setting them up that will be the harder part for you here. So if you think I'm going fast on that, you can just rewatch it, but I'm hoping that you sort of know how to do those already. Okay, last example. You're choosing between two cell phone plans. So we've got plan A that has a monthly fee of $52 and a charge of $18 per gigabyte. Okay, so we've got plan A is $52 plus $18 per gigabyte. Okay, plan B here has a monthly fee of $32. So I'm paying that $32 no matter what, with a charge of $22 per gigabyte. Okay, and both of these is like just the cost of the plan. Okay, so for how many gigabytes of data will the cost of the two data plans be the same? Well, if something is the same in math, that means they are equal to each other. So we're just going to set these two things equal to each other. So 52 plus 18G, where is that equal to the other plan at 32 plus 22Gs? And this is part A. Okay, well, all we have to do here is solve for G. So let's subtract our 32 from both sides. And that gives us 20 plus 18G is equal to 22G. So now let's subtract our 18G and get all those together on the other side, and that gives us 20 is equal to 2Gs, gigabytes. So we divide by 2, and so when the gigabytes are at 10, these two plans are the same. Well, the second part of that question says, what's the cost of each plan at that? Well, the cost is going to be the same for each plan because that's what we were just doing. So we can take either one of those. So we can just take the first one. So 52 plus 18 Gs. Well, 52 plus 18 times 10, because we know G is 10, that gives us 52 plus 180. 18 times 10. Well, 52 plus 180 ends up being $232. And so that's the cost. So at 10 Gs, and if I took the other equation, that same cost would be 232. Okay, so part B says if you used 6 gigabytes of data per month, which is the better deal? Well, in that case, we're going to say G is 6. So what happens with plan A when G is 6? So my cost here is equal to that 52 plus 18G for plan A. Well, let's see what happens for that cost at 6 gigabytes. So we're putting 6 in for that 18. Well, 18 times 6 is 108. So that gives us 52 plus 108. So the cost of plan A at 6 gigabytes is $160. Okay, so plan B is 32 plus 22 gigabytes. Well, we're using the same thing. The gigabytes at 6, what's the cost of plan B if that's all I'm going to use? So I'm just going to put that 6 in the plan B, and that gives us 32 plus 22 times 6. Well, 22 times 6 is 132. So 32 plus 132, that cost is $264. So what's the better deal? Which bill would you rather pay? Well, we'd rather pay the cheaper one, right? So plan A is the better deal when using 6 gigabytes. And it's better by how much? Well, we just subtract the two. 264 minus 160. That is $104. The difference. Okay, good luck on those. Be sure to ask any questions if you have any problems.